Part 44. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 431. The face of the third elder was extremely ugly, and the things that he could easily find at the last moment were powerless. Since he became a cultivator, there has never been such a thing that was out of his control. Although he didn't use his full strength, he was able to dissolve his giant spiritual palm in such an understatement. This person's cultivation and control power would not be under him. When he looked down, he saw that he was still sitting cross-legged on the ground and knocking on the ground. The monk of Mu, and his overly good-looking face. Third elders, let's go and get people back. Seeing the two cultivators rushing down from the air, the monks who came with the third elders took the initiative to ask Yang. Wait, the third elder looked at the monk below for some unknown reason, but he searched carefully for the masters in the spiritual world that he knew, and there was no number one person who could match the number one with the monk below, and the third elder's courage also came up. He raised his brows and scolded, "Where do the monks below come from? This is Dongja. The Bai family is dealing with their own private affairs, and I hope the master will not interfere. Maybe the monks below are not weak, but don't forget that behind him is the Bai family, and the Bai family is not only a combination of him, he ranks third among the elders, and the second elder and the elder above are stronger than him, so there is no need shout out to this monk." The three elders follow the attitude of giving first priority to soldiers. If the other party does not give in, then don't blame the Bai family for being rude. If the Bai family has given way, what will outsiders think of the Bai family? Think the Bai family is easy to bully? The monk picked up the wooden fish with one hand and made a Buddha salute with one hand. "Monk, I have come from all the time. The Buddha is a kind-hearted generation, so that the disciples can save all sentient beings, private affairs and world affairs. There is no poor monk who can't do it." Guyao and Chi Changjai, who had just returned from a circle in the sky, couldn't help twitching the corners of their mouths when they heard this. That's a good answer. When the giant palm of spiritual power in the air was pressed down before Rao Shishi, no matter how strong he was like a boulder pressing on the top, and he couldn't even open the domain. The palpitation at that moment shocked him, but the next moment, the familiar sound of wooden fish was heard between the two of them. It sounded in people's ears. It was different from usual. This time, the voice was full of a strange rhythm. When they kept up with this rhythm, they found that the restraint that was pressing on them had loosened, so why hesitate? Chi Changjai immediately rolled up Guyao and rushed out. The two of them failed, and the monk took action. They rushed up and could only be patted by each other as meat patties, so they returned to the monk without hesitation. Originally, they were worried that the monk would take action, but when the strange rhythm sounded, they knew that the monk still helped them at a critical moment. Fortunately, although the monks acted a little more domineering, they attracted a large number of enemies, but they still took into account their little lives at critical times. The third elder sneered and wanted to pursue my Bai family. "It doesn't matter if you have this life, since you don't eat toast, then the elders have to ask you not to punish you for drinking. Back off." The three elders did not think that if a real fight started, he would not be able to beat this wild monk. Most Buddhist practitioners are not very good at fighting, and the paths taken by Taoist practitioners are often different. Besides, when it comes to combat strength, in addition to looking at the cultivation base also depends on viewing treasures and various other means. The third elder believes that he has treasures in his hands, and it is still possible to teach a nosy wild monk. So the third elder waved his hand and sacrificed his own treasure, Yuan Yang ruler, and patted it at the monk below. Although the Yuan Yang ruler was not a top-quality treasure, it was infinitely close. How many things are left behind, as long as one or two things are enough for their descendants to enjoy? Yuan Yang ruler shot, an invisible cage covered the monk's head. Yuan Yang ruler looks simple, but it is an excellent trapping treasure. Some of the best treasures may not be comparable. After this treasure, I think it is not suitable for use, except when the board was used for smoking people, not for other uses, so it was quickly put aside, but later it was carried forward in their descendants of the Bai family, and now it has been in the hands of the third elders. What kind of toast and fine wine? I don't drink all monks have to drink good wine. The monk raised his eyes, usually smiling, but at this moment he showed evil spirits, just when the cage was about to fall. When he was in his hand, he held a mallet in his hand and regarded the sky as a wooden fish, and knocked it on the ground. There seemed to be a clattering sound, and the restraint of the cage collapsed in an instant. The monk's white robes rattled in the wind. Standing behind him, Guyao and Chi Changjai glanced at each other. They couldn't feel the confinement from the sky at all. The binding force, that is to say, was completely blocked by the monk. It seems that there are no tricks to win. No matter how clever tricks are in front of the monk, it seems to be useless. Guyao and Chi Changjai's eyes are shining, and their eyes are shining. They can see the monk's action just now. He didn't just knock it unconsciously, and knocking a wrong note wouldn't break the trick so easily. The two simply let their minds go, and seized this rare opportunity to watch. The third elder was furious. If he didn't suppress the stinky monk, how would he, the third elder of the Bai family, walk on the boundary of Dongzhou in the future? Mobilizing the spiritual power in the body, the Yuan-Yang ruler in the air shines brightly, and the cages are superimposed one after another, pressing down like the cages of heaven and earth. Except for the monk's body, everything around him seems to have fallen into darkness. Next to him were the miners who Guyao let Mou throw out. Guyao's eyes flashed a hint of unbearableness. If they hadn't come here, these people would not have lost their lives. As if aware of Guyao's thoughts, a trace of impatience flashed on the monk's face, but at this moment, the momentum on his body suddenly rose. The mallet swelled in the wind, and the olive-shaped mallet head turned into a skull when the two eyes behind it watched. Guyao and Chi Changjai's eyes flashed inconceivable colors. At this moment, they believed that what Senior Su Chen said was true, that the monk was a Buddhist monk. The monk void grabbed it and smashed it forward, and the skull in the air smashed forward with his movements. Bang bang bang. The earth moved and the mountains shook, and the cage of heaven and earth, which was almost materialized, was smashed to the brink by the sticky gambler, and it collapsed without much effort. The body of the cage, the Yuan-Yang ruler itself. Bang bang bang. Stop it. PFF. The third elder felt aches and pains at the moment when the cage of heaven and earth broke and collapsed. This trick was destroyed before it was released. He was attacked, but he did not expect that the next moment would break his heart. Yang Qi is also facing a collapse. If Yuan-Yang Qi is lost, his strength will drop a lot. Over the years, he galloped on the boundary of Dongzhou with the Yuan-Yang ruler, who wouldn't avoid 3 points when he saw the Yuan-Yang ruler. The third elder wanted to take back the Yuan-Yang ruler, but there was an invisible force that prevented him from doing so. Skulls are just so rudely smashed. With a bang, Yuan-Yang ruler exploded in mid-air into fireworks. The third elder, who was vomiting blood, covered his heart. If the person who followed him hadn't come to support him, he would have fallen headlong. The third elder pointed his feet off the ground in disbelief and gradually floated away. The monk who came up. The monk at the moment is very different from before. What was it like before? Although he has a beautiful face, he has a kind and gentle smile that can purify all living beings, but at this moment, he also has a smile on his face, but he has become a bloodthirsty devil. Although he is also smiling, the smile made people see the sea of blood behind him, and the countless corpses floating up and down in the sea of blood. When he saw this side of the monk, a name suddenly flashed in the mind of the third elder. The unbelievable anger on his face turned into endless fear at this moment. Blood. What are you? Monk, I'll purify you first. Monk, Why don't I believe the truth? He said this, but his hands were not slow. After the skull smashed the Yuan Yang ruler, he directly knocked on the head of the third elder. The third elder wanted to dodge in horror, but he couldn't get rid of the skull. No, even the cultivator beside him wanted to escape, but 3 or 2 times, not only was the third elder directly knocked to death, but these cultivators were also shaken to death by the aftershock, and even nascent soul was trapped in his body. Escape. Guyao and Qi Changjai also widened their eyes, and with a smile on their faces, the monk who could purify all living beings turned into a demon who came out of the sea of blood and corpses. Qi Changjai glanced down from above, and the two of them suddenly felt a sense of trembling. The monk smiled slightly. Take care of that guy for me. He can hide for as long as he wants. After he finished speaking, he folded his hands and proclaimed the Buddha's name, and the blood around him gradually dissipated. When he landed on the ground, he returned to just a good-looking monk in a white robe. He didn't look threatening, but after witnessing the current Bai Qing, he was completely paralyzed with fright. When the monk came over, he hurriedly stepped back. Guyao also trembled. He didn't dare to resist the monks, so he would let them do whatever they wanted, even if they put the Bai family together. The body elders have been summoned, and now I don't dare to, very honestly nod the juniors, and the juniors will tell the master's words to the seniors. Good, the monk smiled kindly. Guyao couldn't look directly at this smile. Do you want to continue mining? No, let's get out of here. This young master of the Bai family, forget it, keep it as well, it's useless to bring it with you, Guyaoxin said, knocking the elders of the family to death. What are you still doing here? Waiting to continue knocking other elders to death? Okay, the monk became the most considerate elder. Guyao's heart trembled, and he boarded the aircraft with Qi Changjai and left. Of course, before leaving, he also took the storage ring on the fit elder and the monk who came with him. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 432. Not long after Guyao and the others left, another group of cultivators came. At first, they were careless. The 3 elders made a move. In their opinion, it was easy to catch them. Some of them came over to watch Bai Qing's jokes and made themselves hostages. It's ridiculous. But halfway through the flight, I received a summons from the family. I didn't take it seriously, but after reading the summons, I was completely shocked. It was said in the summons that the soul card left by the third elder in the family was shattered, and they hardly dared believe what your divine sense sees, that is a fit elder, who has the ability to obliterate a fit cultivator in Dongzhou. After regaining their senses, they rushed to the scene of the incident, only to see the unconscious miner and Bai Qing, as well as minced meat and corpses. When they understood who the pile of minced meat belonged to, they had a few thoughts. Young masters and young ladies with weak endurance almost vomited out on the spot, their faces turned pale with horror. The cultivator who led the team couldn't believe what he saw with his eyes. He hurriedly asked someone to wake Bai Qing up and asked him clearly who the third elder was. When Bai Qing woke up, he was trembling all over. Fortunately, he wasn't so scared that he lost his mind. He just didn't want to recall the previous scene. When he thought about it, he seemed to be trapped in a boundless blood prison, and he kept reaching out. He came up and wanted to drag him down and sink together. The cultivator who led the team slapped Bai Qing to wake up, and Bai Qing cried, describing the previous scene while crying. A good-looking monk knocked the third elder to death with the mallet that knocked the wooden fish. The mallet turned into a skeleton head. These people quickly brought Bai Qing into the Hui clan, and called out both the first and second elders in the retreat, and conducted in-depth discussions around what Bai Qing had explained. Bai Qing said that the third elder said one word before he died, blood. The first elder's pupils shrank suddenly. He never thought that the third elder would be killed after shutting down. Even nascent soul could not escape. Said that the third elder was under that strange monk, and he didn't even have the strength to fight back, and adding the word blood, the first elder thought of a possibility: could it be the one who had long since disappeared from the spiritual world and betrayed Buddhism? Demon monk. Blood slaughter monk. When the first elder mentioned it, the other people in the room also thought of such a character, and they were shocked when the name came out. How did our Bai family lead this character out? No, this demon monk is still alive and well. This is a famous figure many years ago. His name can stop children from crying at night in the realm of self-cultivation. He not only betrayed the Buddhist sect and joined the magic way, but also slaughtered thousands of monks, creating a thick blood taste, so that the monks who went to check later could not forget it for a long time. You must know that none of the monks who died were poor in cultivation, and the weakest also had liangsu. In that massacre, the demon monk was transformed into a meat grinder, a machine that only knew how to kill. His snow-white monk robe was completely soaked with blood, which was extremely strange. In the direction he left, the monk's robe dripped down. The blood has left a long distance, and you can chase down the direction of the blood to find the whereabouts of the demon monk, but no one dares to chase after him. For many years, there is no news of this demon monk in the spiritual world. Some people say that this demon monk kills like a thorn and must die under the catastrophe. Others say that the demon monk is too powerful, and maybe he will ascend to the demon world. Therefore, the members of the Bai family present here have only seen and heard the legends about the demon monk in the records of the ancient books or in the mouths of the elders, but they did not expect that he would appear in Dongzhou and kill a combined elder of the Bai family as soon as he appeared. Could it be that we made a mistake? Some monks like to play tricks on mysteries and pursue an ethereal reputation. Whether it's notoriety or good name, maybe it's someone with an abnormal mind who wants to create a sensation by relying on the reputation of the demon monk. This is scary. It must be fake. What if it's true? A monk who can easily defeat the third elder will be unknown in the spiritual world. He has heard of such a monk before? And he is also a demon monk like the demon monk. The most troublesome thing is that the Bai family still doesn't know why this demon monk came. If it was aimed at Bai Yun or something left by the ancestors of the Bai family, could the current Bai family be able to stop it? They discussed, and first crossed out the first possibility. If it was really because of Bai Yun, why did the demon monk have not appeared for so many years and had to wait until now? I think the biggest possibility is that the demon monk is stuck at the juncture of ascension and can't escape from our spiritual world, so he made his idea to our Bai family, for the treasure left by the ancestors of the Bai family. The word treasure made everyone's heart skip a beat when they heard it. No one could hear it. In fact, they always suspected that there was something left in the hands of the Bai family, but they refused to hand it over. Of course, the things passed down by the ancestors have been passed down by the Bai family in this Dongzhou for a long time, and they still eat the ancestors' ancestral yin, but they still can't control the greed in their hearts. The two ancestors ascended together at the time, so there are rumors that the ancestors had the secret technique of soaring. As long as they got it, they would definitely ascend. The Bai family took this as a joke, because they also checked countless information and felt that this was the case. The secret technique is nonsense, and the ancestors ascended by their own strength. But now that the blood slaughter monks are all dispatched, maybe there is really a good thing, not necessarily the secret technique of ascension, but it is also closely related to ascension. When there is a further opportunity in front of you, a few people can endure it. Can't you reach out? It's better, let's find someone to contact the senior first. What the senior wants, we can give it up with both hands. There is another way, and that is to send the news of the blood-slaughtering monk's appearance to the demon cultivator, and see how they react. Maybe they can help us. The second elder made a click action. The first elder nodded. You can give it a try. Bai Yun's side, you should also be more careful. The last time you gave him the opportunity to contact outsiders, it was a big mistake. This time, no matter what, Let him be willing to do it. I will dedicate my whole life to our Bai family. Yes, great elder, we must hurry to do it. Guyao and Chi Changjai didn't want to find out what the monk's name was. The third elder finally spit out the word blood and they heard it. Even if they knew how much trouble his identity would cause, it was useless to worry, because you can't get rid of the monk, unless the monk himself wants to leave. The two feel that they have a mentality of breaking the pot and breaking the jar. Anyway, if they follow it, then they can get as many benefits as possible, such as watching the monks fight and learn something from it, such as the storage ring of the integrated monk that they grabbed. Guyao happily pointed at the materials in the storage ring of the third elder of the Bai family, smiling until his teeth were out of sight. The fit cultivator is really amazing. We have never gotten so many top quality spirit stones, the two of us plus Cub Moyu. After digging mines for so long, I haven't found so many top quality spirit stones. After leaving the battle site, Zizai and Mou spit out the top quality spirit stones to Guyao, and the other Guyao kept them for themselves. The four of them dug up the top quality spirit stones, but only a few hundred pieces, most of which were only a few hundred pieces. It is still the credit of Zizao and Moyu, and these three elders have contributed thousands of top-grade spirit stones, and the top-grade spirit stones are piled up into mountains in the storage ring. Just after reading this storage ring, Guyao had a thought in his heart: I have made a fortune. They really made a fortune this time. It's no wonder that so many monks in the world of self-cultivation are not willing to earn spirit stones diligently, but to rob their fellow practitioners. This method is indeed faster to make money. The little life is thrown into the hands of others and becomes the wedding dress of others. Chi Changjai smiled and rubbed Guyao's head. At this moment, Guyao was like a fox that stole chicken. Well, this time it was indeed the biggest windfall they got, but it was a pity that it came from a monk. The ones who got it, and the monks despised it, will have to rely on their own strength next time. The battle that day left Guyao and Chi Changjai with a lot of insights. They absorbed and digested them all the way. When they reached a city again, they all felt very rewarding. On the way down, I didn't encounter many obstacles. I kept staring at them secretly, and then they were withdrawn. Obviously, the death of the elders of the fit has deterred a large number of people. The city they have come to now, although it is also a mixture of human beings and demons, is dominated by demon cultivators. It can be said that this place has reached the boundary of deep into the territory of demon cultivators. Going forward, there are fewer and fewer places that human cultivators can reach. Yes, there are many demon cultivation sites, but people are not welcome to do so. As soon as they appeared, they attracted countless attention, which was enough to attract attention. Now because the third elder of the Bai family died in their hands, it has attracted everyone's curiosity and attention. There are even some specious news secretly circulating. Whether it is a human or a monster, they are all curious creatures, and they cannot be changed after practice. Being watched by so many eyes, Guyao felt that his scalp was numb, and Chi Changjai kept his face straight. In fact, there was already a faint unhappiness beneath his face. The only one who could still calm down was the monk himself, knocking on the wooden fish as he walked. Guyao tried to discuss, "Can't you really hide your identity?" The monk returned with a good-looking smile. Well, Guyao knew that there was no way to negotiate, so he braved these eyes and walked in. As soon as they left, the monks behind them immediately started gossiping with bright eyes. It was even more incredible. When the news came, it felt like hearing rumors. How could the third elder of the Bai family died in the hands of an unknown boy? You must know that for this reason, many cultivators went to buy a photo-taking stone. I want to know what these two people look like, and the monk with them. Now that I see it clearly, I am a little disappointed. It doesn't look like someone who can kill a cultivator. Didn't those two guys just practice virtual cultivation? Isn't there a monk? Can you sense the strength of the monk? It seems to be the case, that monk seems to be an ordinary person, either he is really ordinary, or he is a powerful person. Have you heard of it? It is said that the blood slaughter monk who disappeared in the spiritual world many years ago has reappeared, and he also said that this I seem to be eyeing the Bai family this time. No. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 433. There were so many people talking about it, even if Guyao and Chi Changjai didn't listen to it deliberately, the words blood-slaughtering demon monk came into their ears. There was no doubt that this must be the name of a monk, but the monk killed the monk in the end. How many people did it take to get the title of blood slaughter? At the same time, such a name makes Guyao and Chi Changjai feel that their troubles are even greater, and the exposure of the monk's identity will only attract more and less people. No matter how much headache, you have to find a place to stay first. After finding the inn and entering the room, Guyao can't wait to communicate with Su Chen, who is staying in the space. As for whether the monk will find out, did the monk know that the senior was with him long ago? Since the monk appeared, Su Chen had been staying in the pill pavilion and was unwilling to come out, so if Guyao wanted to talk to Su Chen, he had to come in and call someone in person. Guyao called out several times in a row, and the air pressure around Su Chen's body was obviously much lower than usual. Zi Bao curiously hid behind Guyao, blinking and peeking at Su Chen. He was a baby. How can you understand the love-hate relationship between adults? Senior, is the master of blood demon monk? Guyao asked directly. Su Chen's eyebrows jumped. You already know, why are you still asking me? Guyao said with a headache, Brother Ye and I are worried that if this continues, we will lose our lives. If we do this, we may not be able to walk in the spiritual world with our true colors for a long time in the future. Su Chen squinted at Guyao. That kind of demon monk, is he able to control it? Guyao also looked down on him too much. With such a master by your side, it would be a waste not to hurry up and ask him for advice. Guyao felt that he couldn't get the truth from the senior's mouth, took 2 steps, stopped and asked, according to the outsider, the master should not appear in the spiritual world for a long time, and the appearance of the master will expose the senior. Now Su Chen jumped, pointed at Guyao and said, What does that bald donkey have to do with me? How did you expose me? Let me tell you, boy, that bald donkey is a low-grade spirit stone from Alchemist Ben. It doesn't matter. What does it mean to deceive yourself? That is what senior looks like now. Guyao rolled his eyes. Then think about it, senior, I'll go out first. He doesn't believe that the senior can keep acting deaf and dumb like this. The senior can deceive himself, but will people who are familiar with him and the master see it the same way? Guyao has a feeling that the existence of the senior will be exposed sooner or later because of the appearance of the master. What a misery! Guyao said to go and left. The phantom disappeared in the space. Su Chen called for hello several times, but did not leave anyone behind. Zi Bao got Guyao's instructions long ago, and ran away early in the morning, hiding in a tree from the back of the spirit fruit tree. He peeked at Su Chen, who was furious. After Guyao came out, he told Chi Changjai about his senior's reaction, and Chi Changjai was helpless. Now living in this inn, he felt like the storm was about to come. This is not their delusion, perhaps because of the power of the name of blood slaughter monk. Not many gods dare to glance over them blatantly, but once they show up, those pairs of eyes will all look over, bright enough to show their blind eyes, and among these eyes, most of them are demon cultivators. However, the monk rarely walks around. His daily routine is to knock on the wooden fish to meditate and recite the scriptures. Guyao and Chi Changjai are a little strange. Didn't he all enter the devil's way and become a devil monk? Think about the people who said that they wanted to pursue the Bai family that day, how they thought and how they violated the peace. Could it be that Master Perdue's method is to send people into the underworld? Well, unique enough. Guyao and Chi Changjai just came out of the room that day, and unexpectedly saw the monk standing in the courtyard, and they clearly saw the back of a man who had just left. The monk held a jade slip between two fingers. Seeing them coming out, the monk flicked his finger, and the jade slip flew towards them. The monk said, "Someone sent me a letter. Help me to see what the letter said." Guyao twitched the corners of his mouth. For a cultivator, reading the letter was just a thought. He didn't believe that the monk was really lazy. The only reason was the content of the letter. Know what to say. After watching it, Chi Changjai also said ponderingly, "This is given to the master by the Bai family trustee? Are they trying to win the master to stand on the side of the Bai family?" The Bai family said in a letter that they have what the master wants in their hands, and as long as the master speaks, they will immediately offer it with both hands. This is the case when the master has just slaughtered a fit elder of the Bai family. The Bai family knows that it is not the opponent of the master, so they change their strategy. "Master," Guyao said strangely, "what does the Bai family want to do? Isn't the identity of the master revealed by the Bai family? On the one hand, the identity of the master was made public, and on the other hand, he secretly sent someone to win the master? I can't figure out what they're thinking." This makes people feel that on the one hand they are in awe of the identity and means of the master, and on the other hand, they seem to feel that they can manipulate the master from left to right. Could it be that they regard the master as stupid? Maybe there are masters who are not so knowledgeable about the world, but after getting in touch, the master is definitely not such a person. He is just too lazy to deal with it, and often he will be defeated by one force asterisk. Amichuo Buddha, poor monks don't know. The monk kept his smile unchanged. Guyao changed the question, "What do the Bai family think the master needs?" "They are so confident that they can meet the needs of the master." The monk continued to laugh. "Chi Changjai can answer this question. Maybe it is something left by the ancestors of the Bai family. The Bai family thought it would impress the master. After all, the two ancestors both flew to the fairyland. But he felt that Xian could impress others, but not necessarily the master. If ascension was so important to the master, there would be no news for so many years. The master did not reappear until the senior Su Chen came back. Separate. The monk still smiled. Good white family, was that the idea? An unpleasant voice came from outside. Guyao and Chi Changjai looked at each other. They really didn't know anyone was listening outside, but out of caution, they didn't mention the existence of senior Su Chen. Otherwise, two people were sweating. But looking at the monk's face, if such a situation really occurs, the master should take measures. The two of them looked out. The monk stretched out his hand and flicked the door, and the door opened from the inside. A strong and powerful man stood at the door. The tiger's eyes swept inside and fell on the monk. His pupils shrank. "I don't know if the master is coming, and if I miss you, please forgive me." When the visitor stepped into the yard, Guyao and Chi Changjai immediately felt the heavy pressure from him. Oh, this is another fit, since they, after becoming a virtual cultivator, the fusions that they have come into contact with are one after another. There is no room for them to feel a little complacent, and they just feel the coercion of the fusion power. The visitor approached the monk, and although the monk looked young and casual, the visitor was calm and heavy. But when he arrived at the monk, the visitor respectfully saluted him. "In Xiaqian, I have seen the master, if the master has anything," even though Xian was left behind. As for the Bai family, no matter what they want to do, the master doesn't need to worry about it. The actions of the Bai family over the years have already attracted the disgust of our demon cultivators. Even the Bai Bingqi family will only watch, focusing on the descendants left by the senior. The other Bai family members are not within the scope of care. Everyone knows the upper level things. Although the senior of the Bai Bingqi clan and the ancestors of the Bai family are very loving, but Yao Xiu actually has very limited feelings for human Xiu. but it depends on the senior to take care of the descendants of his bloodline. After all, from the bloodline, the descendants of that senior also have the blood of the Bai Bingqi clan, and they can be regarded as half of the clan, and they cannot tolerate bullying. The Bai family saw Yaoshiu's patience with them, and they turned back, and the consequences were much more serious than they thought. The monk returned to the Buddha ceremony. Don't need to be too polite. The poor monk is accompanying 2 juniors on this trip. It's not me, but them. If you have anything to do, just talk about it. The following words were said to Guyao and Qi Changjai. Qi Yan, who came here, looked at them from a different place, but this one has never heard of any close juniors, and Jing Ran even let this one come out to accompany him in person. Even speaking for them, Qi Yan was so shocked that his eyes almost fell. Fortunately, I have lived long enough, and I quickly put away my surprised expression and replaced it with a self-righteous elder face, but in fact it still has a fierce look. What is the matter with the 2 little friends? Even if you talk to me, in the realm, I, Xian, can still do some masters. He patted his chest with a big palm, making a thumping sound. Guyao also realized that what he and Qi Changjai thought was actually not the case. There was still some estrangement between Renqiu and Yaoshiu, so it seemed that Bai Yun's matter should be solved very easily. Guyao said, there is only one person left in the Bai family, and that is Bai. When we first arrived in Dongzhou, Yu Hao met Bai, and he asked us to send a letter, originally to the Ice Moth clan. Please, the Bingjiao clan was transferred to the Beibingqi clan, and now the seniors appear, just to save us the trouble. The Bing Hungry clan is not so close. Compared with other demon cultivators, the Ice Python clan is relatively exclusive, especially the human cultivators, but the communication between the demon cultivators is definitely much easier than them, especially the fit and powerful. It's easier to come out. Qi Yan nodded and said, it's simple, I can help you to send it directly to the Bai Bingqi clan. I wonder how the little guy from the Bai family is doing now. Guyao said, I was originally trapped in an unnamed town, because our appearance disturbed the people of the Bai family, and now Bai Yun must have been transferred out by the Bai family. By the way, Bai Yun gave the token. Through this token you can sense his position. Guyao took out the clear scale, and Qi Yan took a look at it. It was indeed a unique scale on Bai Bingqi's body, and this scale was left by the senior who became a Taoist partner with others. You can still feel it on it. Another much weaker breath, needless to say, is the descendant. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 434. Qi Yan was furious. The Bai family is too deceiving, and dares to treat the descendants of their predecessors like this. You wait, I will personally go and deliver this letter to the Bai Bingqi family. Many thanks, Senior Guyao and Qi Changjai thanked together. After leaving the town, Guyao was actually quite worried about Bai Yun's situation. In order to avoid future troubles, the Bai clan did not know what measures they would use on Bai Yun, so the sooner they could do it. Sending the letter to the Bai Bingqi family will help Bai Yun rescue as soon as possible. No, that little guy is also half a monster, master. I don't ergo, the poor monk and the 2 juniors won't walk around freely. The monk lifted his eyelids and said. Qi Yan quickly waved his hand, master can go anywhere, I leave the 2 little guys outside. If the master and the 2 little friends have nothing to do, they can go to our demon cultivation site for a walk. Xian will leave first. After Xian finished speaking, he left in a hurry, sending letters for Guyao and the others, so that Great Master Fit could be a messenger in person. I don't know how many people can enjoy such treatment. Guyao and Qi Changjai also learned from 2 demon cultivators outside that Xian's body is a fire-horned rhinoceros. In fact, this demon cultivator also has a small amount of dragon blood in its body, so its body is very powerful. Also has a certain status. The bloodline of Bai Bingqi and the dragon family is even closer, so in terms of rank, The bloodline of Bai Bingqi is much higher than that of the fire-horned rhinoceros, but the Bai Bingqi family seldom shows up outside and always stays with themselves on the site, so the fire-horned rhino family is enough to deter all the monsters. Therefore, after the two clansmen of Xian stayed, it was very obvious that the eyes of the demon cultivators who secretly observed them in the city decreased a lot. In fact, the arrival of Xian has already alarmed some strong people in the city, and found that he was rushing to kill the demon monk. Tacitly suppressed all kinds of commotion in the city. In fact, the arrival of the blood-slaughtering demon monk has made all forces in the city, whether it be human or demon cultivator, very worried, lest which party will make him unhappy, and the evil nature will start killing again. If his strength has not diminished over the years, the monks in the whole city don't know if they are enough to kill him. As for summoning the great powers of all parties to besiege the blood demon monk, this thought was thrown away after just turning around in their minds. They didn't believe that they could summon people under the nose of the blood slaughter monk without disturbing him. The arrival of Xian made them relieved. In this deadlock, someone must first open an opening to test the master's intentions. The result was good. Just after coming out of the yard, Xian was like a gust of wind and could not be seen. When did the sky change from the fire attribute to the wind attribute? As soon as Qi Yan left, their nerves collapsed again, as if a sharp sword was hanging over the entire city at this moment, threatening them all the time. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai, who appeared next to the master, were also the focus of investigation by various forces. It would be difficult to know the master's intention, but it may be much easier to start from the cultivation of these two people. Although the monks in Dongzhou did not participate in the opening of the secret realm of the Endless Pond, Dongzhou is not closed to the outside world, and there are large commercial firms across the state, and some firms communicate with each other. The appearance of these two people was a little unexpected, but it is not too difficult to find out the origin of the two people. When the information of Gu Yao and Qi Changjai were placed on the desks of the major forces, Xian also rushed to a place where the world was frozen. I don't want to step into this place. Because he is a fire-type demon cultivator, born with the ice-water attribute, he felt that his spiritual power was suppressed when he came here. Bing Kun, come out, Qi Yan lowered his throat and roared, creating a storm of ice debris. After a while, a white ice cockroach flew out in the distance, and at the same time, a voice came, "What are you doing here on our site? Your hands are itchy and you want to fight someone? I will definitely accompany you." These two are not acquaintances who do not know each other. It just so happens that Qian is thicker and rougher, and can withstand the beating, so Bing Kun, who was too lazy to come out, came over immediately when he heard this guy's voice. Qi Yan rolled his eyes, "I came to see you this time for a business purpose. You longworms are huddled in this icy and snowy place all day long. You don't know what happened outside. Others use your name to show off their power outside, and one day they will fly to the fairyland to see how you treat your ancestors." Although Bing Kun is a very light and graceful Bai Bing Qi, but the person who cannot fight with Qi Yan is definitely a different temperament, although the ice attribute, but his temper is hot enough. As soon as he hears this anger, Who dares to bully us Bai Bing Qi? You tell me, I will go out and kill them right away. The blood level of Bai Bing Qi is extremely high, but this also causes a disadvantage, that is, it is not easy to breed offspring. The number of Bai Bing Qi clan is limited, so they are quite protective of their offspring. If the forces bully the descendants, it is likely that all Bai Bing Qi will be sent out to shock each other. Qi Yan said angrily, "Who else could it be? Which younger generation of you Bai Bing Qi is still outside?" Bing Kun was stunned for a moment. "You mean the descendants of Senior Binjian? Could it be that the descendants of Senior Baiji didn't take good care of them?" Qi Yan really couldn't take it any longer. "You really shouldn't stay in this place all day, not paying attention to what's going on outside. You don't know what's going on outside. Maybe you have to wait until the bloodline of Senior Binjian is cut off. Only then can you know the seriousness of the matter." The little guy outside was about to be bullied to death by the Bai family, and he asked someone to deliver the letter, so I'll run errands for them, you can see for yourself. Chi Yan took out the jade slip in the space and threw it to Bing Kun. Between the fire-horned rhinoceros and the Bai Bing Chi, the monks in the entire spiritual world would probably think that Bai Bing Chi was smarter than the fire-horn Ku, but if he wanted to say, he had never seen it. These guys are so smarter than him, they are foolishly playing tricks by the people of the Bai family all day long, and they can't stand the outside monsters. If it wasn't for Bai Bingchi's face, who would be willing to take care of the people who step on the Bai family, there are also a lot of middle and low-level demons, who can't figure out what position the Bai family is in the Bai Bingchi family, so they give the Bai family convenience everywhere, which is more indulgent. Because of the temperament of the Bai family, I really thought that in this Dongzhou, we could be king and hegemony. This letter was sealed with a special technique, and no one except the Bai Bingchi family could unseal it and read it. After reading the letter, Bing Kun went crazy. The little guy's parents were dead, and the little guy was restricted from moving by the Bai family's sideline, unable to cultivate. The little guy wanted to ask the ancestors to rescue him from the Bai family come out. When Bing Kun was angry, several icebergs collapsed and the ground moved the icebergs, which alerted several clansmen, and flew out to ask what was going on. How dare Bing Kun hide it, causing the clansmen to get angry together. This is good, causing a big riot in the icebergs. Holding his head and jumping like a mouse, he ran away quickly, otherwise he would be buried under the ice. However, he was chased by Bing Kun with people halfway through the run. They haven't seen the messenger yet, and there is no Xian to lead the way. Where can they find it? So Xian brought 3 Beibingchi people to the city where Gu Yao and the others stayed. Bing Kun and Qi Yan are both integrated cultivators. The 2 clansmen who came with him are comparable in strength to him. The purpose of their coming out is to investigate. Understand the real situation of the family, and understand the situation of the bloodline left by Senior Bing Pua. If the situation is as Xian said, there is no need for the entire Bai family to exist. As for whether Senior Baiji should be taken into account, they felt that it was completely unnecessary. It was up to those Bai family members to think about how to explain to their ancestors. Qi Yan was afraid that they would be too impulsive, and the appearance of Bai Bingchi's family was too bluffing. He was afraid that they would turn Dongzhou upside down as soon as they came out. He didn't forget that there was still a big boss in Dongzhou. Senior Switu is now in the city. The 2 messengers are Xiu's juniors. I don't know what their relationship is. Blood slaughter? Blood slaughter demon monk. Bing Kun 3 were startled. This one is still in the spiritual world? Didn't die under the catastrophe? How did he come to our Dongzhou? This name is quite deterrent. Bing Kun and the 3 really restrain their momentum, otherwise the monks in the entire city will be alarmed when they come. How do I know? I know that this master killed a fit elder of the Bai family. Speaking of which, you should thank the master. If it wasn't for the protection of the master, those 2 Xiu didn't know if they could send the letter. You are in your hands. Qi Yan once again despised the Beibing cockroach clan, and a sense of superiority rose in his heart. Their fire-horned rhinoceros clan could not produce such a fool. Compared with human cultivators, demon cultivators have a longer lifespan. For human cultivators in the fusion stage, the blood slaughter demon monk seems to be separated by some distance, but for demon cultivators like Xian and Bing Kun, the blood slaughter demon monk is in the spirit world. When they were in trouble, they remembered things even though they were young, so how could they dare to be disrespectful to such a character? Although this master has a bad reputation among the various forces of human cultivation, otherwise he would not be given such a name by others, but for demon cultivators, the line between righteousness and demons is not so clear, and demon cultivators are more obedient. The law of the strong eats the weak, worships the strong. This one is undoubtedly the strongest among the strong. So the 3 Bing Kun painting style changed. Followed, Chi Yan obediently knocked on the door of the inn yard where Gu Yao and the others lived. Chi Yan contacted the clansmen and knew that they had not left here for the past few days, and the three Bing Kun also did this time. Not too stupid, when they came out, they contacted the race that depended on them to investigate all kinds of things about the Bai family. As soon as Gu Yao's door opened, a gust of cold air rushed in. Three ice-man-like monks stood at the door. All six eyes looked at Gu Yao together, causing the lotus heart fire in Gu Yao's dantian to beat uncontrollably several times. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 435. Gu Yao guessed the identities of these three people when he saw Xian. In his heart, Xian's status is really high enough, otherwise he couldn't invite the three Bai Bingqi at once. Seeing that their breath is not much different from Xian's, no need said to be a combined boss. Faced with the four gangsters all at once, Gu Yao was under a lot of pressure and respectfully invited people in. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai were very honest in front of these fit bosses. Similarly, Bing Kun and the others were just as honest in front of monks. They greeted the monk respectfully before entering the door, and then turned around and asked Bai Yun eagerly. Matter? Gu Yao breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed that Bai Bingqi's family still attached great importance to Bai Yun, and he should have nothing to do with him, so handing the scale to the other party would be more convenient for the other party to find. Seeing this scale, Bing Kun's reaction was not much better than Qian's, because they could sense the breath of the same family from this scale. When Bing Kun's spiritual power was sent in, they saw a light ice blue floating above the scale. The phantom of color, that is the trumpet by Bingqi, which looks extremely cute and innocent. After communicating with this phantom, Bingkan was furious that the little guy was not in a good state. The Bai family was really courting death. It's important to get the little guy out first. You. It was Gu Yao and Qi Changjai who asked later. Gu Yao had already blended into this extent. Of course he didn't want to miss it, and he had to go to Bai Yun to collect the reward, so he said, "Let's go together." "So is the master?" The monk proclaimed the Buddha name. "Okay, then there is Master Lao." Bing Kun said in his heart that these two people Xiu really are the juniors that master values, and they are willing to follow them everywhere, and the Bai family's courage is getting bigger and bigger. As a backer, does even the master dare to take it seriously? You must know that the elders in the Bai Bingqi clan were polite when they saw this master. This group of monks disappeared in the city in a blink of an eye. When the big bosses in the city noticed that there were several big bosses in the yard for a moment, no one dared to speak up or go to visit them. Honestly, she huddled in her own cave and restrained the people below from making trouble, and he was relieved when the people left. After leaving the city and staying away from the monks, one of the monks changed into his original form, and Qi Yan took the lead and flew up, and asked Gu Yao and Qi Changjai to go to the back of Bai Bingqi together, otherwise they would not be able to keep up with the fit period. Bai Bingqi's speed. When the monk also flew up, Gu Yao and Qi Changjai didn't delay any longer. They flew up. Gu Yao was excited. How many people in this world of self-cultivation can ride the Bai Bingqi? Speaking of which, Bai Bingqi is really a beautiful and fierce existence. It is very close to the blood of the dragon family. Except for the lack of long horns on the head, because of the ice attribute, the scales are clear and crystal clear, showing a kind of light ice blue. When he flies in the air, the irradiated light reflects the colorful light, which makes people dazzling. Xian saw Gu Yao's obsessed look, and thought that he was another guy who was bewitched by Bai Bingqi's appearance. Bai Bingqi also used this appearance to confuse ignorant people. In fact, he is not as reliable as Xian. The first and second elders of the Bai family have not retreated. For some reason, there has always been a feeling of trepidation in the past 2 days. Looking at the other children of the family, they are still living the same life as before. If they have an influence, it is the third elder. The clansmen of the branch, because they lost such a backer, kept fighting with the clansmen of other branches around the interests of the family, and even brought trouble to them. What does this make them do? To be honest, taking advantage of this opportunity, they also swallowed up a lot of the property left by the third elders. Bai Jing now has a big family in the Bai family, and there are so many people to support. How's that kid Bai Yun doing now? Still not obedient, the second elder asked the higher UPS in the family. That kid is dead brains. Where can he go after leaving the Bai's house? Do you really think the demon cultivator can make him run over there alone? Besides, it's no wonder that a child can endure such a place where it is icy and snowy. Yeah, the first and second elders don't have to worry, the news of the blood-slaughtering demon monk spreads, and many people will definitely come to deal with him, especially those great masters of the Buddhist sect. It is impossible not to rush over after getting the news, but unfortunately we sent it over. There was no reply to the letter. I don't believe that this demon monk will not be at all tempted. Just wait and see, maybe when we'll contact our Bai family, when has a pair of Taoist priests ascended at the same time in our Dongzhou land. Except for us there is no one else in the Bai family. Bai Qing has not had a good life since he returned to the family. The matter of the Lingxi mine was exposed, and he was taken hostage. Every day, people came to his yard and mocked him openly and secretly, but Bai Qing slowed down. After God came, he felt that no matter how difficult it was to return to the clan, how hard would it be to survive the period of being a hostage. Especially after seeing the monk's terrifying methods, his life can be considered happy now. Lying on a chair dozing, two more clan brothers who did not deal with him ran over. Bai Qing squinted at them. The two clan brothers looked down at Bai Qing like a salted fish, and sneered when they spoke. Brother Qing has been living a really leisurely life recently. How is it like us? We are so busy all day that we don't even have time to drink tea. We are so envious. Fart. Isn't it just a joke that he has been deprived of power now, and the family affairs will not let him get involved? Bai Qing snorted. You have time to run here, enough for you to drink several cups of tea. The door is right there, so you can leave. Heh, Bai Qing, how dare you talk to us in such a rude tone as you are now? I don't even think about how much you lost because of your family, and even the third elder lost because of you. Hee, we are still light. Waiting for the clan of the third elder to relax. Have a good life with you. Let's go. Putting down the threat, the two clan brothers walked away with their heads held high. Bai Qing thought of the situation he might face next, and sighed helplessly. And thinking of the monk's methods, he always felt that the matter of the Bai family was far from over. The monk was able to kill the third elder. Why did the people of the Bai family think they could sit back and relax and watch his jokes? Bai Qing continued to lie down, and those things didn't enter his heart. In his opinion, there were tall people on the back of the sky anyway. Just when he was about to fall asleep, someone rushed in and shouted, "No, Bai Bingqi has appeared." Bai Bingqi ran to the forbidden area of the family. What? Bai Qing rolled to the ground. Aren't they immobile for 10,000 years? How did they escape? Who is there in the forbidden area? Brother Qing, you forgot, that little guy Bai Yun is locked inside. He almost blurted out the word little bastard out of habit. The words were swallowed. Although the Bai family had always been proud of being covered by Bai Bingqi, they never dared to say a word out loud when they came to Bai Bingqi. Many children of the Bai family have very complicated feelings for that descendant. Not only the children of the Bai family, but in fact, many people who have a mentality of rejection towards the hybrid descendants of human and demon, thinking that they are neither human nor demon, they are just monsters, with a discriminatory mentality. They even took it for granted that the Bai Bingfeng clan had never been in charge of that clan for so many years, and they must have the same idea as them, and it was not a pure-blooded Bai Bingqi, but a mixed-race bastard. Seriously, so what if they had Bai Bingqi's blood flowing in their bodies? It is not the bottom of the Bai family. Bai Qing was so frightened. What are you waiting for? Don't run away, wait to die. After Bai Qing figured out what was going on, there was only one thought left in his mind, that is to run away, the farther away the better before. The days are gone forever. Not all the children of the Bai family thought the same as Bai Qing, and some of the children of the family rushed to the forbidden area. According to the scales, Bing Kun and his party finally arrived at the forbidden area of the Bai family. Bai Yun was being detained in the forbidden area at the moment. The other two Bai Bingqi moved in the same way as him. At that time, Gu Yao and the others hadn't gotten off Bai Bingqi's back. The other party's movements almost knocked them out, and they flew into the air to see their movements. Of course, there are members of the Bai family guarding the forbidden area. When I saw the three-headed Bai Bingqi collided from the inside, I trembled. I was so scared that I almost lost my mind. I hurriedly asked the family for help. In the forbidden area of the Bai family, and when it appears, it has 3 heads, not to mention such a big move when it appears. Bad visitor. This is the thought that came into the mind of the Bai clan people who were guarding the forbidden area. After sending out the letter of help, they realized that Bai Yun was in the forbidden area at the moment. Could it be that the 3 Bai Bingqi seniors came to Bai Yun? As soon as this idea came out, the people in the forbidden area almost fainted. The senior members of the Bai family who received the letter for help, from the patriarch to the first elder and the second elder, none of them dared to hold back, rushed to the forbidden area in a hurry, and the news spread quickly within the Bai family, and it was alarmed. Other forces and monks nearby also rushed to the forbidden area of the Bai family. The moment Patriarch Bai and the 2 elders arrived, it happened that the ban was broken by the 3 Bai Bingqi with brutal means. They could only see a dazzling flash of white light, and the 3 Bai Bingqi rushed in. The person with the highest status in the Bai family almost fell from the sky when his legs were weak. The monks who came to watch from a distance also witnessed the scene and were surprised. What's the matter? How did the Bai family get Bai Bingqi to call at the door? Oh, I see, there is only one reason that can attract Bai Bingqi to come here, that is, the only descendant of the direct line, who must be locked in the forbidden area now. The Bai Bingqi family can definitely sense the little guy's feelings. Breath. The Bai family is really courting death. In the past, they always used Bai Bingqi as their backing. Now that Bai Bingqi has really come out, they are scared to the ground. Could the Buddhist master over there be? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 436. Seeing the bald-headed monk standing in mid-air, some monks thought of the rumors outside. The blood slaughter monk came to Dongzhou, and heard that the 3rd elder of the Bai family died at the hands of the demon monk, and now they suddenly saw a man with a beautiful appearance. The beautiful monk swallowed uncontrollably and did not dare to take a step forward. They couldn't help but cast sympathetic glances at the people of the Bai family, not only attracted by Bingqi, but also attracted the blood-slaughtering demon monk, the killing god. Their own forces are ready. Once the Bai family is severely hit, it is a good time for them to take the opportunity to rise. Bing Kun rushed in with the 2 clansmen. On the way, there were actually the Bai family who intercepted and tried to reason with them. At this time, their consciousness had already found Bai Yun and saw his current situation clearly. Just to start with these white family members. Bing Kun took the lead and spit out a breath of ice when he opened his mouth to these Bai family members who couldn't see the situation clearly. Several Bai family members who were only able to transform into spirits and cultivated the emptiness were instantly frozen into an icicle. Bing Kun waved his paw again. The column was quickly decomposed into ice cubes and fell to the ground. Not even a drop of blood flowed out. The internal organs of the ice cubes scattered on the ground seemed to remain in their previous state. When the Bai family who were still coming here saw this scene, They were so frightened that they turned around and ran away. At this moment, Bai Bingqi was no longer their backer, but a life-threatening existence. The two clansmen who came with Binkan were equally. The next breath of ice was sprayed, and in just a few breaths, many members of the Bai family were killed in their hands. Uncle Li, someone has come to save us. Uncle Li, you must support us. I will ask them for an elixir to save Uncle Li. Bai Yun sensed the call from his bloodline. He knew that Bai Bingqi was here. He said to Uncle Li, who was covered in injuries, and ran out immediately. Uncle Li was not only trying to protect him, but was also used by the Bai family as a tool to blackmail him. These days, he was in a dying state. Uncle Li reluctantly opened his eyes and smiled. Great, the young master is about to be saved, and his young master can finally get out of this cage. Bai Yun ran out, and some of the Bai family members who were running back saw him. In order to survive, they had the idea of taking him as a hostage, but a roar came from behind. The Bai family's hand hadn't reached Bai Yun yet. The frost arrow came out from behind them through the chest, also without any blood. Even if it was ferocious, it would not make people feel bloody, but such a scene made people look even more creepy. Bai Yun was startled, but immediately ran over and searched for the corpse. After a while, he found their storage ring, medicinal pill. He was looking for medicinal pill, and he and Uncle Li were completely searched. Not even the most common pills, including the pills that Gu Yao gave them when he left, were also searched. Bai Yun found the elixir, and quickly ran back to the simple house. He quickly put the healing elixir he could know into Uncle Li's mouth. With the elixir, Uncle Li, who was almost dying, immediately began to look better. Bai Yun's energy, as soon as his anger was relieved, he slumped on the ground, covering his face and almost weeping. The three of Bingkan followed in behind, turned into human figures and just looked at the situation in the room. No one said a word. They could sense the blood on Bai Yun's body, and it was artificially sealed. To be honest, such Bai Yun is really weak. Even the newly born cubs in their clan can't compare. Of course, the current Bai Yun, in their eyes, is actually a young man. The age of 10 is too young for Bai Bingqi. Bai Yun is not only weak, but also very weak. He is completely incomparable with the young ones in the clan who have been raised by various spiritual creatures since birth. Therefore, the three Bingkan dare not make a sound, for fear of scaring him. Cub. Bingkan patted his head angrily. How could they believe that the Bai family would take good care of the descendants of Senior Bing Yan? Them. Why don't you remember to come and take a look every now and then? They are all responsible for letting the descendants of Senior Bingpu be bullied to death by the Bai family. The sound of bang 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 banging on the forehead alarmed Bai Yun. Only then did he remember that the seniors of the Bai Bingqi clan were here, and he quickly got up from the ground. He saw the three ice men standing at the door at a glance, and his heart shrank. I don't know how to communicate with them. The three Bingkan were also at a loss. The cubs in the clan could be thrown around at will, but the cub in front of them was afraid that a single touch would damage him. By the way, that person Chiu had been with Bai Yun for a while, but Bingkan didn't say a word, and immediately rushed out to bring in that person Chiu outside. Bai Yun was dumbfounded and stared at the remaining two seniors, still not knowing how to communicate. Bingkan and the others rushed in all the way, and Guyao and the others followed slowly behind. As for the Bai family members who came behind, they didn't care. Bingkan and the others would settle accounts with them after they dealt with Bai Yun's affairs. Bingkan rushed over with a gust of wind, caught Guyao and rushed away with a gust of wind. Chi Changjai hurriedly chased after him, although he didn't think Senior Bingkan had any ill will towards Guyao, but he was still worried. Chi Changjai took a few steps to follow the shabby house, watching Bingkan say something to Guyao with a blank face. Chi Changjai saw the words helpless from his icy face. Guyao also listened hard for a while, and vaguely understood what he meant. Senior wants to ask what Bai Yun has gone through during this time, and what do you want senior to do for him? Yes, Bing Kun, who seemed extremely arrogant on the surface but was actually uneasy, replied with a single word very succinctly. Seeing Gu Yao's appearance, Bai Yun relaxed a lot. Originally, they didn't have much hope, but they didn't expect Gu Yao and Chi Chang'ai to send letters for them. Bai Yun said to him gratefully, thank you Gu Senior. Don't say thank you first, you and Uncle Li are not in a good condition. I'll check Uncle Li's situation first. Gu Yao stopped. Bai Yun was even more grateful, and hurriedly led him to Uncle Li. Gu Yao's inspection was also full of anger. The medicinal pill that Bai Yun had given to Uncle Li before could only give a little breath, and it didn't have much effect on his recovery, because it was really badly damaged. Not only the physical body has been greatly damaged, and even the sea of consciousness is about to collapse. This group of people from the Bai family really made Gu Yao sick. Gu Yao hurriedly took out the top quality pills on his body and gave them to Uncle Li. The healing pills that Bai Yun used before were just ordinary ones. Gu Yao himself was an alchemist. Using his own spiritual power to help refine and chemically help Uncle Li better absorb these medicinal powers, so it can be seen with the naked eye that Uncle Li's condition has improved. Uncle Li's injury will no longer continue to deteriorate. It only takes a period of time to recover, and he can gradually recover. It is impossible for him to return to his original state immediately. Gu Yao then turned around and said to Bai Yun, Uncle Li is fine now, his body is in a deep sleep. What about yourself? Is your body okay? Compared with the last time, Bai Yun's complexion is obviously haggard, and it is enough for the Bai family to be able to toss the cultivator to this point. His sea of consciousness is also damaged. Some people have used spells such as fascination on him, but because of the blood of Bai Binqi, it has little effect. Because of Gu Yao's presence, Bing Kun calmed down a little and probed the scene. Younger's situation almost fell into rage again. Gu Yao thought that it was not because the effect was not great, maybe because the Bai family had not had time to use the last resort. They were beaten by Bai Bingqi, and he took out a bottle of healing elixir specially designed for damage to consciousness. This elixir, you keep the medicine, take a pill every once in a while, it can nourish. Run your sea of knowledge. With Gu Yao in the middle to reconcile, the atmosphere between Bai Yun and Bing Kun has eased a lot, and Bai Yun slowly talked about what he suffered during this time. Outside, the head of the Bai family and the second elder, the first elder, came and tried to enter, but were blocked by Qi Yan. For some reason, the first elder felt that he should have a bit of face in front of Xian, and he went forward with a cheeky face, Friend Equator, I don't know why the Taoist friend of Baibingqi clan suddenly broke into the forbidden area of Bai's family, and I wonder if we can go in and visit a few people. Fellow. Qi Yan sneered directly, making the three of them feel ashamed and angry. Qi Yan blew on his fingernails and itchy fingernails. He really wanted to learn from Bing Kun and cut them into pieces. He sneered and said, Your Bai family can do it. Do you think that our demon cultivators are extremely stupid, just that you people are smart, cunning, and have brains? You want to benefit, but you don't want to sacrifice people, but you torture children in such a place. Is it too long to live? Patriarch Bai and the two elders were terrified, and the first elder quickly denied, No, the descendants left by Baiji's ancestors have always been the focus of our Bai family, and we must not listen to outsiders' nonsense. Roll dash. An ice dragon jumped out from behind and directly swept the three old guys out. Even the people of the Bai clan who followed behind were affected, and those with weaker cultivation vomited blood directly. Although the three old guys who were the first and second didn't vomit blood, they didn't feel well at all, and being treated like this in front of their juniors made them feel extremely sour. Over the years, they have lived a life of incomparable respect on the borders of Dongzhou, so they don't know why they are fortunate, thinking that Bai Yun will not get much attention from the Bai Bingqi family, because for many years, they have never seen the Bai Bingqi family. After showing up, the greed in their hearts became bigger and bigger, so that they could not tolerate the existence of the bloodline, but on the other side, they showed off their power under the banner of the Bai Bingqi family. To say that they didn't have the idea that the Bai Bingqi clan and Yaoshiu would be fooled, they wouldn't go all the way to today's situation. The ice dragon dissipated in the air, and Bing Kun, who was full of stern eyes, stepped out from behind, his voice like a knife. What a Bai family, who cares for the descendants of Senior Binjian like this? Bai Ji is here today, don't let it go. Let's stop and kill me. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 437. Many years later, the older monks in Dongzhou would often remind their younger generation about the scene from many years ago. The Bai family used to be domineering in Dongzhou for many years, but they had no resistance in front of the Bai Bingqi family. The high-rise was killed by Bai Bingqi. Who would have thought that the Bai family, who used to carry the banner of Bai Bingqi in the past, would one day be destroyed by the Bai Bingqi family? For many younger generations, the Bai Bingqi family is more like a legend, and the legend describes them as no matter how powerful they are, but it is only today that I know why the Bai Bingqi family has never appeared in front of others. Will get the respect of so many demon cultivators, and then I understand why the Bai family can eat so much in the demon cultivator and have such a strong position in Dongzhou just by relying on a name. Success is also Bai Bingqi, defeat is also Bai Bingqi. Guyao and Qi Changjai were standing in the air in the forbidden area of the Bai family, watching the three gangsters of Binkan kick off their killing spree. All the members of the Bai family who entered their line of sight were not spared. He showed his true form and ran to the Bai family to kill him. The situation of the three-headed Bai Bingqi in the Bai family's land was seen by countless cultivators, but no one made a sound to stop it. Although Dongzhou may not have no cultivator to surpass these three Bai Bingqi, don't forget since there are still big men with higher cultivation in the clan, and people who have lived long enough, they will not want to make themselves Bai Bingqi's enemy. Looking at the fate of the Bai family today, I know that Bai Bingmo is not easy to provoke, and the result of today's Bai family will further deepen the understanding of the Dongzhou cultivator. The huge family collapsed and overturned in just one day. There are clever people like Bai Qing, when they know that Bai Bingqi has appeared in the forbidden area of the Bai family, it is important to take their belongings and run for their lives. He made up his mind to remain anonymous from now on, and not to easily reveal the identity of the children of the Bai family. As for revenge, Bai Qing couldn't even think of such a thought. Even before Baiji's ancestors ascended to the immortal realm, one person might not be able to resist the entire Bai Bingqi clan. Since then, these Bai clan's children who escaped everywhere have been completely integrated into the ordinary scattered cultivators in Dongzhou, and all kinds of Bai clan have since become legends in the mouths of monks. These are all things to come later, and the various forces in Dongzhou who have witnessed the overthrow of the Bai family have a feeling of sadness in their hearts at the same time as they are happy. In front of the real powerhouse, there is only room for bowing his head and admitting defeat. The high-level officials of these forces went back and warned their disciples and clansmen that they should learn the lessons of the Bai family in their future actions. They must keep in mind what they can mess with and what they can't touch easily. Otherwise, the fate of the Bai family today will be theirs tomorrow. Portraiture. Some people also think of the former Baiji. Under the leadership of him and his Taoist companion, the Bai family has reached the pinnacle of the entire spiritual world. If they learned of the fate of the Bai family in the lower realm, they would not know how they would feel. If Senior Baiji is still in the spiritual world, it will not be the turn of the Bai Bingqi family to take action. Senior Baiji will break up the family in person, and regret bringing up the whole family that day. What is the situation of the descendant of Senior Baiji? I heard that it's not very good. The Bai family's doing this is really inauthentic. Now it's their own fault, no wonder others. Power and status are nothing but things outside the body for monks, only their cultivation is their own. Everyone understands this truth, but it is easier to know than to do, and there are a few monks in the world who can restrain their desires, and they want more after they get a lot. Among the ordinary monks, there is no lack of attacking by Bingchi. The method of attacking by Bingchi is too ruthless. If you say that it is destroyed, it will be ruined. There are many innocent people who die under Bai Bingchi's claws. Is there no strong person in cultivation to stand up to stop it? Are demon cultivators rampant? Hey, do what you don't want, don't do it to others. In the past, most of the children of the Bai family did whatever they wanted to ordinary monks, and there were not a few ordinary monks who died because of them. At that time, who stood up and condemned the white family for innocent monks? If you want me to say that the Bai Bingchi family has done a great job, it is very pleasing. In the future, we will lose an unscrupulous family in Dongzhou. Isn't it a good thing for our scattered cultivators? Indeed, some people applauded. These monks have been bullied by the children of the Bai family in the past. Guyao and Qi Changjai were not qualified to point fingers on this matter. They witnessed this bloodless massacre from beginning to end. However, those corpses that had formed ice cubes and glazed glass were even more horrifying to watch. The monk was the calmest, sitting cross-legged beside the wooden fish and chanting sutras. The three Bingkun, who came back after killing people, didn't have a trace of blood all over their bodies, but there was a little bit of suffocation between their brows. They looked at Bai Yun and said, "Go back with us." These words are cold. People who don't know their personalities think that Bingkun doesn't welcome Bai Yun very much. Xian didn't intervene in Bingkun's actions to clean up the Bai family. Kun couldn't stand it any longer, and couldn't help explaining it for him. You are still a cub, and you should be taken care of by the elders of the clan. It is not too late to go out after the infancy period. Also, seeing that you have a strong bloodline of Bai Bingchi, it is good for you to stay in the clan. Maybe in a few years, the Bai Bingchi family will have another little Bai Bingchi. Bai Yun never thought of staying any longer, and of course he would not object to Bingkun's arrangement. Bai Yun listens to senior. Bai Yun didn't ask what happened outside. It's not that he didn't hear the screams of the Bai family outside. Even if he couldn't bear it, he wouldn't speak out for these people to stop Senior Bingkun and the others. I believe that everything in the Bai family today is what they deserve. When Bingkun turned around to face the monk, he looked very respectful. "Master, do you want to go to the Bingbi to live there?" The monk stopped knocking on the wooden fish, thought about it and said, "Yes." So next, Guyao and Qi Changjai followed the monks to the Baibingchi clan. Rao is that they are virtual cultivators, and when they got here, they also felt a chill digging into their bodies, and Qian said goodbye to them halfway through. Now, Guyao thought it was no wonder that Senior Qian didn't want to come here. Even the lotus heart fire in his danshan had lost a bit of its vitality. They all stayed in the guest house of the clan. Bai Yun was taken away by Bingkun and the others, and Uncle Li was with them. Uncle Li is very happy with this result, even if the identity of others may not be able to stay here for a long time, but he knows that the little master doesn't need to worry about him in the future. Today's Bai Bingchi family has really become the backing of the little master. It was a blessing that he was still alive. Even if he was confused at the time, he knew that it was the medicinal pill Guyao took out that saved his life. These days, the medicinal power continued to repair his body, and his condition had greatly improved. On this day, he came to see Guyao and fulfilled the promise of the day. Second seniors, this is what I promised the two seniors. The Bai family always thought that the things left by the ancestors will be known by the young master. Young master. If you don't know, then there will definitely be no more. In fact, they don't know. Some things are only bad for the young master to know. Those things are only kept in our minds. Master. Uncle Li pointed to his own brain. Guyao did not expect him to be so loyal to Bai Yun. Of course, to give him such an important thing to keep secret, there must be other means of restraint. Does Bai Yun know that you are going to hand it over to us? Uncle Li nodded with a smile. young master reminded me, and now you don't need it anymore. In fact, if the people of the Bai family could. It's better, young master, it's okay to give these things to them, because they're incompetent, it's a disaster to keep these things in their hands. Uncle Li gave Gu Yao and Qi Changjai a piece of jade slip, and a small bottle of Bai Yun's blood. The jade slip contained a map, and it was necessary to cooperate with Bai Yun's blood to unlock the restriction and obtain the items inside. What surprised Gu Yao and Qi Changjai the most was that this place was actually in a secret realm. Bai Yun's ancestors left things left for future generations in the secret realm. I have to say that this is safer than hiding in other places. Many. After Uncle Li sent the things away, he seemed to have unloaded a heavy burden and walked away easily. He believed that it was worthwhile to exchange such a secret for the safety of the young master. Ancestor Baiji would not blame him when he found out. The reason why these things are left to their descendants instead of the Bai family is to prevent accidents and leave a way for future generations. Uncle Li's role is to memorize a map. As for what is hidden in the ban in the secret realm, Uncle Li doesn't know anything. Regarding the situation of this secret realm, he also told Gu Yao and Qi Changjai everything he knew. The Xin Cheng secret realm is still 10 years away from the next opening, and this secret realm is on the boundary of Dongzhou. In the past, the children of the Bai family did not enter the Xin Cheng secret realm. Maybe they did not think that Baiji ancestors would be able to do things stay in this secret realm, and don't worry about being intruded by others to get it. There are still 10 years. I think I should ask Bai Yun if he wants to go with him at that time. In any case, it is also left by his ancestors. Gu Yao looked at the blood in the bottle, not to mention Bai Yun also. It should be this matter, he is actually very curious, what is left in the end. Okay, Qi Changjai replied. If it is said that before the destruction of the Bai family, Qi Changjai was quite fond of the things left by the two ascended monks, but the ending of the Bai family gave him a lot of insights from the onlookers, and the same is true for Gu Yao. Can compare to his own strength, Bai Bingqi is not just because his own strength is strong enough. One sentence determines the fate of the entire Bai family. The Bai family has been domineering in Dongzhou for tens of thousands of years. It has grown into a large clan with countless people, but it has also fallen and scattered in one day. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 438. The disappearance of the Bai family made the major forces sigh at the most for a while, and then warned the disciples of the tribe, and then they were busy dividing up the Bai family's industry with other forces. One step behind, it is very likely that a large amount of wealth will pass by. In the past, the Bai family occupied many resources, minerals, and rich water treasures, but now they belong to no owners. The Bai Bingqi family obviously disliked these things. Fortunately, the forces of all parties did not go too far, and they would be demon cultivators. Excluded, but brought in the major demon cultivators together. After several fierce battles of words, there were also several small-scale battles between them, and many monks died. The industry left by the Bai family finally settled, and each had a new owner. After the family rejoiced, their minds calmed down a little. At this time, everyone knew that the three Bingkun brought Bai Yun, a junior with Bai Bingqi's blood, back to their clan, while the blood slaughter monk and those two Xiu also went to the Bai Bingqi clan's land. This kind of treatment made Xiu very envious. That clan land was a forbidden place for most Xiu. The blood-slaughtered demon monk is just that. The so-called forbidden land is not valid for him, but the two people around him cultivated differently. At this time, everyone remembered the resources they had obtained before, but later because of the appearance of Bai Bingqi, their all attention has been diverted to the past, and there is no time to pay attention to the other side. Now I turn out the information of the two people, and I feel a little more curious in my heart. The experiences of Gu Yao and Qi Changjai in barren state are no longer a secret to all parties in Dongzhou. It also involves the Giwen Pavilion of Tianyang sect and the secret realm of Juechi, combined with what happened after they came to Dongzhou, you can't even ignore them. It's just the performance and experience of the wasteland. It can be said that they have good luck. However, there are not a few monks with such luck. Which genius monk lacks the accompanying luck and grows into an eye-catching figure? However, the blood slaughter monk suddenly coming for them is heart-wrenching. Although the destruction of the Bai family was not what they did, these two played an important role in it. As long as you pay attention to the affairs of the Bai family, it is difficult not to pay attention to the cultivation of these two people. It is said that the descendants of Baiji still have good things in their hands. I don't know if it will fall into the hands of these two people. They really came from the lower realm. But if they came from below, how could the blood slaughter monk be so important? If it wasn't for the blood demon monk, how could these two monks escape from the scope of the Bai family's search? Perhaps the Bai family has another fate. I can't find any place where they have anything to do with the blood slaughter monk, and it was only after they came to Dongzhou that the blood slaughter monk appeared beside them. To say what was worth noting about their previous time in the wild state, one is the alchemy called Guyao. It is said that the pavilion master of Giwan Pavilion liked it and even protected them once. The other is the sword cultivator named Qi Changjai. In their opinion, even if Switu wanted to find a successor, he would only find it among monks who cultivated Buddhism. How could he find two Taoist monks, and even went to the lower realm to find them? No matter how you look at it, it doesn't look like the blood slaughter. If we have to find a reason, it is possible that Guyao is an alchemist. Just because of his identity as an alchemist, we can see that he once had a relationship with a genius alchemist. There is a past, but didn't the genius alchemist fall long ago? Is it reincarnated? It has to be said that these thoughts are divergent enough. Just when the forces of all parties were very puzzled, there was new news that some bigwigs were coming to Dongzhou. It can be said that a goal that the Bai family wanted to achieve when they released the rumors has finally been achieved, but the Bai family is fundamentally there is no time to wait for the arrival of these bigwigs. These news made all forces restrain the clansmen once again, and they should be more cautious when they go out and not be arrogant and provoke people who should not be provoked. Somewhere in Lingzhou, one person came to the cave house halfway up the mountain and said straight to the cave mansion's owner, the blood slaughter monk reincarnated in Dongzhou, and was followed by two people to cultivate. One of them was an alchemist. It is said that his alchemy skills are very good. The owner of the cave was stunned for a moment before putting down the book in his hand, but I didn't sense the appearance of that guy here. What kind of temperament is the blood slaughter monk, you still don't know? Maybe I've been tired of staying all these years, and I came out to relax. I think the alchemist next to him is more handsome. Isn't this demon monk just like that? The person chuckled, you can rest assured if you don't give it a try. If you don't want to, then I'll have to come by myself. If there is any result, don't argue with me. The person who came said was about to turn around and leave, and the master of the cave stood up at this time, wait. There was a sneer on the corner of the visitor's mouth, and he said he didn't believe it, but he was very honest in his physical actions. As a result, he had expected it long ago, and he turned back and said, you said. The master of the cave said with a light cough, let's try it together, now our situation is not good, if it doesn't change, the pill pavilion will be destroyed in our generation, you and I can't afford this crime. The person chuckled, okay 6. Babing Chi tribe. The monk who knocked on the wooden fish in the room suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes that had always been smiling, but at this moment flashed a stern look, what? For a moment, even the man and the wooden fish disappeared into the room. Qi Changjai, who suddenly noticed that there was a lot of aura in the room, was about to make a move when the whole person was imprisoned together with Guyao. Just as Guyao was about to ask the master what he wanted to do, a space crack appeared in front of them, and the monk waved his hand and sent them in, throwing a storage ring in. The storage ring is for people who are hiding. If he doesn't want to come out and see me, he won't. I'll keep waiting. Someone is chasing after my breath. If you are involved, that guy will definitely not follow me. No forgiveness, so I will send you away first. It is too early for you to pick up the things in the secret realm of Xin Cheng. Grandmaster. Just as Guyao was free, he wanted to stretch out his hand to shout something, but the space fissure had closed in front of them, and only the words that the monk had passed in his ears. Just now, they were still in the Babingchi clan, but they didn't know where they were sent. Guyao and Qi Changjai landed on the ground. The first thing they had to do was to quickly change their appearances. In fact, they had already arrived at this moment. Be mentally prepared. After changing their appearances, the two quickly left the place. While vigilant about the surroundings, Guyao was still holding the storage ring thrown by the master in his hand. His mood was a little complicated, and he called out to Senior Su Chen in the space. Senior, the master is separated from us. Haha. Should have been separated long ago. Should I stay beside that bald donkey and wait to be slaughtered? Su Chen flew out of the pill pavilion, exaggerating. Laugh twice. Guyao felt that the laughter was too exaggerated and seemed unreal. He transferred the storage ring outside to the space and sent it to the senior. This is what the master asked us to pass to the senior, and the master said that he will wait until the senior is willing to come out. When you see the master. Su Chen glanced over, but then he showed disgust. Who wants something like a bald donkey? Don't get the smell of a bald donkey. Guyao drips sweat. Who can be deceived by this duplicitous appearance? Shouldn't senior get a water mirror to take care of it? Guyao sighed. Since the master gave it to the senior, then I will let it go. If the senior doesn't want it, just leave it in any corner. I want to go out first and see where the master has left it. After Guyao finished speaking, he flashed, and the storage ring floated in front of Su Chen. Zi Bao Bao looked at Su Chen with a tangled face from a distance, and wanted to reach out, but the next moment he retracted and stared fiercely. Glancing at baby Zi who was peeking in the distance, he finally grabbed it and returned to the pill pavilion. Humph, I'll just see what the bald donkey takes to please me, don't give it to me for nothing. Naturally, these words were sent to Guyao's ears, and he couldn't help raising the corners of his mouth. The senior was really hard-hearted and soft-hearted. He also had some vague guesses about what the master would send. It was probably a treasure of heaven and earth to help the senior restore his body. I want to rely on him and Qi Changjai. I don't know until the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. The two carefully looked around, and finally came to a conclusion that surprised them. They were sent to an uninhabited island. There are restrictions around the island, and it is difficult for outsiders to discover the existence of the island. The island is also a place with extremely strong spiritual energy. Not to mention the growth of many spiritual grasses, it is also an excellent retreat. Is this a compensation for being in fear by the master's side for a while? You don't have to think about it, you know that the master sent them here through spatial positioning, rather than throwing them out at will. After thinking about it like this, I am grateful to the master. In fact, during the time they were with him, they also gained something. After confirming that the island is not in danger, they can safely retreat on the island. Guyao relaxes, and together with Qi Changjai, he sets up a 8 trigrams locking spirit formation, and then takes out their personal cave. Guyaoxuan asked the master with the spirit fruit and there would be no problem. If the master's identity leaked, someone would find them. Both of them expected it, but if the master didn't let them go, they wouldn't have the possibility to escape from the master's side, and it was obvious that the master didn't have any ill will towards them, but instead reminded them a few times. It is very beneficial to their practice. Including those masters who dealt with the third elders of the Bai family, every action is infinitely enlarged and slowed down, allowing them to see the trajectory of each action clearly. This is the best guidance. Qi Changjai hugged Guyao and said, It shouldn't be. With their cultivation level, it should be easy to get away unless he doesn't want to. I don't think it's possible. You forget that the master still wants to wait for a certain senior. Come out and see you asterisk. An angry cold snort sounded in their minds at the same time. This was Su-chan, who was extremely tangled. He wanted to find Gu Yao chatting to resolve a very depressed mood, but when he heard Chi Change-I's words, he was furious. Chi Change-I shrugged without any psychological burden, and Gu Yao twitched the corners of his mouth. On the other side, the monk threw Gu Yao and Chi Change-I away with his front feet, and the sound of a wooden fish came in from behind. Two monk masters with completely opposite images appeared outside the Bai Bingqi clan. If they were not invited by Bai Bingqi, they would be. They also can't force it, otherwise they will forge hatred. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 439. Two monks, one with kind eyes, and one with angry eyes, the latter is extremely difficult to provoke. As soon as they appeared, Bai Bingqi's power was sensed. However, Buddhist practitioners in the spiritual world often form their own country. Most of them stay in Florida, and they do not have many exchanges with other state sections. It is a different kind of Buddhist practice. With the blood slaughter here, there is no need for their Bai Bingqi to appear, unless these two monks want to force their way into the clan. Bing Kun was teaching the cub Bai Yun, and the movement outside also alarmed him. When the monk ripped apart the space, he also noticed that the cultivation of Zindao Switu was really different for these two people. Senior, what happened? Bai Yun asked curiously. Bing Kun returned to his senses and patted his head. It's nothing major, your two friends have already left. When you grow up, there will be opportunities to meet in the future. You have to work hard. Bai Yun felt a lot of loss in his heart, but he was quickly inspired and clenched his fists and said, I will try my best to become stronger. Let yourself no longer be controlled by others, but also protect the people around you. The monk stepped out of the Bai Bingqi clan in a few steps and appeared outside, standing in the air and looking coldly at the two monks in front. The monk with kind eyebrows and good purpose announced the Buddha's name, Li Su. You are finally willing to show up, Li Su. Put down the butcher knife, become a Buddha on the ground, and follow me back to the Buddhist sect. The angry-eyed monk had an explosive temper, a guy who betrayed Buddhism. What qualifications do he have to return to Buddhism? Devil, first cut off this body of cultivation, then enter the next 9 prisons and stay for 10,000 years, in order to wash away this body of sins. Junior brother, why are you doing this? The charitable and kind-hearted monk advised. The monk laughed, and the evil spirit overflowed, making the whole person extremely bewitching. Just the two of you old guys want me to be captured? I've said before, I and you won't make the river water, and if you annoy me again, I will go to Florida and tear down your temples. Lai Su, you. The charitable monk still wanted to persuade Su to return to the right path. The monk tore open the space directly in front of them, lifted his foot to enter, and the people disappeared in front of them, making the monk's mouth crooked with anger. Senior brother, you can also see that this evil obstacle is simply he has completely fallen into the devil's way, and there is no possibility of redemption. The monk with kind eyebrows and good intentions looked at the place where Su disappeared, showing a look of contemplation. Junior brother, why didn't you take action just now? It's because you can see that Su's cultivation is far beyond you and me, Amichuo Buddha. Although Su he has fallen into the devil's way, but he is still the most enlightened disciple of the Buddhist sect for so many years. The angry-looking monk was almost unable to hold on, but his bronzed complexion made it hard to tell that his face was flushed. Go back. The angry-eyed monk could only stare reluctantly at the place where Su disappeared, then turned around and followed behind his senior brother. One after the other, the figures of the two quickly disappeared. After they disappeared, the other demon cultivators stuck their heads out and exaggeratedly relieved. The smell of these bald donkeys was contrary to their demon cultivators, and they were not happy anyway. After the two monks left, there were other monks who wanted to enter the Babingchi clan, but they were stopped by other demon cultivators before they approached. Some monks even couldn't find the Babingchi clan. The first two monks seemed to have arrived very easily. In fact, Babingchi's clan is a space of its own, without any connection of Taoism. No door could be found. After repeated harassment to no avail, the monks from all sides stopped their actions to go to the Babingchi clan. Dongzhou seems to have regained its calm. Rengzhou and Yaoxiu live in peace. Developed. Of course, attentive monks will find that there are more monks from other states on the boundary of Dongzhou, but such a number of people who invest in the boundary of Dongzhou is tantamount to a few drops of water flowing into the vast ocean, which is difficult for people to notice. Especially these monks are deliberately low-key. More than 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye, and the Xinjiang secret realm has been opened once, and the topics that everyone gathered to talk about have changed several times. Now they are talking more about the young heroes who emerged during this trip to the Xinjiang secret realm. The number of people who came out of the secret realm alive this time is a lot more than before. I heard that within a few days of the closure of the secret realm, 2 loose cultivators were taken in by Feiyun's section. More than the 2 of them, there are quite a few cultivators in their early years. Compared with the past, the chances of cultivators from loose cultivators and small and medium-sized forces have greatly increased, and I heard that there is quite a lot of competition in it, but the benefits everyone gets are also bigger. Speaking of which, the senior demon cultivators of the Babingchi clan have really done a good thing for us in Dongzhou. Otherwise, the Bai family will control them. If ordinary loose cultivators don't want to join the Bai family, they won't even be able to enter the secret realm. No, but at that time, the blood-slaughtered monk disappeared after entering the Babingchi clan, and the situation of the Bai family who was also taken there is unknown now. You mean Baiyun? Life is definitely not bad, with the guidance of those seniors, plus a lot of resources, the pile can also pile up the cultivation base. In the future, the young heroes in the eastern province, there must be no missing his name. However, there were still 2 people who repaired it that time, and they also followed him to the Babingchi clan, but so far nothing has disappeared. That's right. There is a gossip that the 2 people were doing well in the wasteland, and it's not bad in our Dongzhou, but what about the people now? Could it be that they have been staying in the Babingchi clan? Have you cultivated? A cultivator who is not an ice attribute won't be able to stay there for long. Maybe it was taken away by Senior Switu and left our Dongzhou. Let's talk about what they are doing. Let's talk about our Dongzhou young heroes. There were 2 monks in the restaurant box listening to the various discussions in the lobby below, and sighed for a while. How long do you think we will stay here? Like they said, maybe it will be taken away by the blood demon monk, isn't it because the demon monk is so masculine? Maybe the 2 guys have become demon monks. It's a waste of our time to stay any longer. Then what can I do? Can you push the task given above? Forget it, anyway. This Dongzhou has outstanding people and the place is not bad. If we are sent to the barren state, it will be bad. And it's not just us. Didn't you find that someone was secretly tracking down the whereabouts of the Tusiu? What do you think about the Tusiu that deserves attention? Don't even think about it, these things will definitely not be known to us. On the island, Guyao and Chi-Changjai forgot all the disturbances outside and enjoyed this leisurely cultivation time. After retreating for nearly 10 years, they wandered around the island when they came out, picking and gnawing on spirit grass. Linguo also released Moyu from time to time. Every time he brought back a lot of fresh food from the sea, it was very delicious after a little cooking. The area of the island is actually not small, but there are only 2 of them, the others are monsters that are not threatening, and there are many spirit grasses growing, many of which are transplanted by people, not native growing up. On this island, Guyao actually found quite a few rare spirit grasses that he was missing. Guyao felt that he would not get tired of staying here for decades or hundreds of years. Of course, this is not realistic, so now he must enjoy this hard-won leisure time. Actually, this island is probably built by the master specially for someone, but now it's cheaper for us, Guyao said Tzitzila while nibbling on the spiritual fruit. Su Chen threw his fist out in the space, and this guy didn't open the pot but raised it. Chi Changjai laughed. Isn't this obvious? He drew a map on paper, and gave Mou the task of detecting the surrounding terrain. Every time he went out and came back, he would truthfully tell Chi Changjai where he had been. They came easily, and they were thrown over by the master, but they wanted to leave, but it wasn't that easy. They didn't have the ability to tear apart the space, and they couldn't reach their cultivation base. It's a matter of time to leave, so let's do some preparatory work now, and want to know where this island is. The two suspected that Su Chen should know something, but he didn't say anything. Fortunately, the two of them were not in a hurry and just explored slowly. After eating and drinking, one focused on alchemy, the other focused on practicing swordsmanship. Time passed without knowing it, and when there was something gained, he would retreat for a while, and he could not notice the passage of time at all. During this period, the places Mou had probed became farther and farther away, and the map in Chi Changjai's hand became more and more comprehensive. Based on the various information returned by Mou, after leaving the customs again, Chi Changjai could boldly infer that they were the current position. I didn't expect that the master would throw us outside the Kyushu spirit world. Senior, have seniors been to this place before? Guyao was also very surprised. The books I read before said that there is nothing beyond Kyushu, but I didn't expect that we would be left here. Su Chen in the space seemed to squirt, perhaps not surprised by this result. Yeah, Chi Changjai became more interested in this result. Mou went out this time and met the eye of the storm, and almost got involved. Fortunately, he is a kelp, and he can get rid of some details. Senior, listen, is it true that some great masters of the spiritual world will come to open up space outside Kyushu? Some great masters will come to try their luck, maybe they will meet the fragments of the fairy world. The so-called eye of the storm does not refer to an ordinary hurricane storm, but a storm mixed with fragments of space cracks. It is purely seeking death without the strength to come to this place. Fragments of the immortal world, if you can touch one of them, it will really be released. Some fragments will have immortal energy remaining on them. Those cultivators who have cultivated to the peak of the spiritual world can immediately ascend to the immortal world by absorbing a little or two. Of course, they don't count on it now, because their cultivation base is still weak, and the immortal energy is tantamount to poison to them, and it will kill them. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 440. Knowing what's going on outside, Guyao and Chi Changjai will expand their exploration beyond the island while cultivating. The area of the sea area is not small. In addition to the island where they are located, there are other islands. Although there are not many spiritual grasses growing on this island, there are also other spiritual materials, and the seabed has also nurtured a lot good things. There are few people here, so they took the opportunity to search a lot. These days really made the two of them reluctant to think about Shu. While chatting, they couldn't help thinking of their future life. In the future, their cultivation base would be high enough, so they would go to find a space like this outside of Kyushu, or rely on their own strength to open up a piece. As their private site, it belongs to the two of them alone. Occasionally, they invite 3 or 2 relatives and friends, and those days can't be better. Now they have to continue to work hard for the better days in the future. The two people outside were reluctant to think about Shu, and they turned around and ran into the sea. Su Chen in the space was extremely depressed. The same treasures of heaven and earth were spread out in front of him. Every release would cause a sensation in the spiritual world. It was worthless things piled up here. Thinking about the guy's intentions, Su Chen sighed again. When Pill Pavilion first settled in Guyao Consciousness Sea, Su Chen was very eager to have a physical body to leave the space of Pill Pavilion and walk outside freely, but all the way here, the opportunity was in front of him, but he hesitated. The treasures from heaven and earth that Guy found are all used to reshape the body, and all of them are top-quality spiritual materials. That is to say, he can have a body in advance and leave the Pill Pavilion without waiting for Guyao to improve his cultivation. Space. Even if he doesn't want to leave, I believe that the two guys outside are willing to let him stay here. After he has a physical body, he can concoct pills by himself. Without a physical body, there are great restrictions on pill concocting. Grit your teeth, whatever. If you have a physical body earlier, you can also have a cultivation base earlier. You should avenge your own revenge yourself, and you should not push it on others. Moreover, the appearance of the bald donkey before must have made Guyao and Qi Changjai noticed by people with intentions. If they walk outside, the danger will be much greater than before. How can his elder just sit back and ignore it? In addition to exploring the seabed, Guyao and Qi Changjai will also let Mou take them to the eye of the storm, as long as they are careful not to involve themselves in it, because they found that watching the changes in the eye of the storm can speed up their understanding of the world. The comprehension of the law is also affirmed by Su Chen. What is beyond Kyushu? Outside the real Kyushu, it is a chaos, and the area they are in is actually the edge of this world, the edge area. The various laws of heaven and earth are constantly evolving and constructing, they are sometimes fused together, and sometimes they are split up, leading to all kinds of extreme changes. The two of them once saw a strange sight in the eye of a storm, with a sea of fire on one side and an iceberg on the other. The two extreme environments of extreme flame and extreme cold do not conflict with each other. A more violent storm. When they first realized something and returned to the island to retreat, the two had a new view on those legends. The reason why those great masters came here to open up space was not because it was quiet or the conditions were good, and it was the spiritual world. Among them, it is the most suitable place to understand the laws of heaven and earth. Of course, it is dangerous enough here. Even the great power of the spiritual world may die here. It can only be said that the space that the master found for them is quite stable. Even if the safety of the two of them is not considered, they must for the sake of Senior Su Chen in the space. Unknowingly, the cultivation of the two of them both climbed to the ultimate level of virtual refinement, and they were surprised to find that they had been here for nearly 50 years. Time does not pass so fast. Exit. Do me a favor. Guyao said to Qi Changjai and came to the space. Mou and Cub Cub did not know where they were having fun. Even Zi Bao Bao would occasionally wander around the island, so he didn't have to worry about being discovered by outsiders. Senior, what's the matter? Su Chen pointed to a pile of materials and said, help me refine these materials and use them to reshape my body, so I don't have to stay in your space and float around. Guyao secretly said that as expected, he didn't check what was in the storage ring at the beginning, but it was easy to guess that it would be the thing that Senior needs most at the moment. In fact, he has also checked privately what kind of treasures are needed to reshape the body, but they can only be stunned. According to his and Qi Changjai's current abilities, they can't do it at all. Some materials exist in very extreme environments, and they only end up running away. Is to die. Now, I can pass the eye addiction. All kinds of legendary materials are right in front of me. Guyao is hot. Really let me handle it? Su Chen rolled his eyes. Don't let you come, do you want me to come? Guyaoan, Senior can't handle this state, so he nodded again and again. I'll come, I'll help Senior. He still remembered to tell Qi Changjai outside, otherwise he wouldn't be worried if he didn't go out for a long time. Many of the materials needed to be refined by different fires. Guyao was doing it little by little under Su Chen's guidance, and with the help of Pill Pavilion, a fleshy body gradually appeared in front of them. Guyao asked worriedly, if Senior leaves the Pill Pavilion, will those outside find out? Su Chen looked at his body with satisfaction and said, before, there was no cultivation, plus the traction of the soul card, as long as I show. The face will be discovered, but when I have a physical body, and then restore a few % of my cultivation base, if they want to find me, they have to look at their origins. Thing. As for here, have you forgotten what this place is? If they can find out, they won't be so fancy to Pill Pavilion. Guyao suddenly said, it turned out that the master threw us here, but it was still in the light of the predecessors. He just said, this island is completely the place that the master found for the seniors. The seniors reshaped the body here so as not to disturb the enemies of the seniors, and they are because the seniors still need them, so they are together. Throw it over. In vain, he was self-motivated and thought that the master was making up for their 2 juniors. He really looked down on himself too much. It wasn't because of the seniors, how did they get the master's eyes? Su Chen slammed his fingers on Guyao's forehead, and when Guyao looked up, he saw the angry eyes of his predecessors, and quickly remedied, what should we do next? Senior, you say. Move the Pill Pavilion out, or you won't be able to hold on to the sea of knowledge. Okay, here we come. Guyao came out and explained the whole situation to Qi Changjai, who was standing outside. Then he took out the Pill Pavilion, and a tower appeared on the island. Su Chen flew out and waved at them, telling them to step back. And Qi Changjai did it, and they couldn't get involved. The two of them are also curious about the process of reshaping their bodies. In the cultivation world, there are often monks who are beaten and only escape from the primordial infant, but in this case, most of them choose to seize their homes and rebuild their bodies. It is because of the requirement of reshaping their bodies. If it is too high, with the materials Guyao saw, most of the cultivators went bankrupt and couldn't get it together. A flesh body also flew out from the Pill Pavilion, and then the flesh body was bathed in the spiritual mist sprayed by the Pill Pavilion, and the flesh visible to the naked eye. The body is getting more and more perfect, and this spiritual mist is transformed from the absorption of the best pills, and it gathers the essence of all kinds of best pills. The more the spiritual mist absorbs, the stronger the physical body is, perhaps because he sees the benefits of body refining for monks, especially alchemists. This time to reshape the physical body, Su Chen's requirements for the physical body are much higher. When the flesh body reaches saturation, the soul in mid-air condenses into a light spot and rushes towards the flesh body. When the light spot disappears into the flesh body trembles slightly, and the flesh body's eyes suddenly open. The body was covered, and there was endless joy in those eyes, but then there was a rumbling sound in the sky. After death, people should enter the reincarnation and reincarnate, so rebuilding the body is against the sky, so it must pass the test of the catastrophe. It is more perfect, and the flesh and the soul can be better integrated. Senior, do you need a magic weapon? Su Chen, who was looking up at the heavenly tribulation in the sky, waved at them, I have a magic weapon, and besides, I also want to try the heavenly tribulation tempering body. He followed Guyao and watched a lot Guyao and Qi Changjai met, and he also learned it. He didn't want to miss the current heavenly tribulation. As for the magic weapon, it was in the storage ring. Thinking of these he had a headache again, and when he met the bald donkey again, he didn't know how to treat him. In the end, he still had his love. The robbery rumbled through the island span. After so many years, the taste of regaining a physical body was so wonderful, even if the robbery made him taste the pain again, but this taste made Su Chen the sourness laughed happily, and opened his arms to welcome the baptism of Leiji. This scene made Guyao see a very complicated mood, and he was happy for Su Chen. Although the senior's temper sometimes made him laugh and cry, but if he lost his body, he could only stay in the pill pavilion, waiting for someone to open the pill pavilion. On that day, the feeling of loneliness will drive people crazy, not to mention the character of the Dan Pavilion Master who is waiting. The first wait of the tribulation thunder was more violent than the first, and at first he was excited because he tasted the pain again, but soon, Su Chen jumped and screamed under the thunder tribulation, and hurriedly threw out treasures to resist the thunder tribulation for him. There was wow. Gu Yao silently wiped his face, he thought too much. The senior is still the senior. The cub jumped and screamed in Gu Yao's body, but the cries were clearly mocking Su Chen. Finally, when the thunder robbery ended, Su Chen lay down on the ground, his robes were torn to pieces, he waved his hand to call the pill pavilion, and another burst of spiritual mist sprayed out, quickly repairing the wounds on his body.